What's going on, guys? What is up? I just woke up to a second massacre. I mean, a 2 day. It's been 2 days in a row. I wake up, and it's like it's just nuts, man. So I'm over in Tokyo, just trying to enjoy a vacation, a little trip. But it looks like I got to work. It's about 8:30 a.m. 2 days in a row, getting that crypto dump. This is wild, man. It is wild. It's like Sunday morning out here, and it's like the streets are dead. I'm trying to find a coffee shop so I can just do a little work, you know? But let's see here. See if anyone joins up. We can chat. Who's scared out there, you know? Go down here. It's pretty cool. There's a cafe up there. Up on the floor, second floor up there. Go up there. Yeah, man, it's nuts. I'll just keep this on hold and wait for people to join. I'm not gonna talk to myself. If you want, just go ahead and type something in there. Type something in the chat. You know, if you got questions, you know, it can just be market related or concentrated liquidity. All good. Let's see, how do I see the chat? I guess there's nothing yet. Let's start a poll here. Are you scared? Yes or no? Yes. No. We'll add a third option. I shit my pants. Cool. Drop that poll in there. You know, feel free to vote. Are you scared? All right, let's see. Let's like just hang out here for a second, huh? Nice little area. Looks like everything's just still closed. Most things actually still closed. It's Sunday morning. Sunday morning in Tokyo. All right, we got a couple people in here. I hope you guys can hear me. Drop the link in the Discord. You know what? Let me drop this link. So I posted it over there. But yeah, go ahead and vote if you want. What's up? Who's in here? What is up? No one's voting yet, man. 3 people in here. All right. Getting some people in here. People scared. People afraid. I don't know. I guess you go through so many of these that, you know, you just stop giving a shit. It's like, whatever, man. You know, the most important thing is just to, you know, put in, you know, I know they say put in what you can afford to lose and all that shit, but, you know, if you can truly do that, you have to have like a shit ton of money anyways to make it worth it, right? So it's stupid. You know, the best thing you can do is just, you know, invest in the assets that have, you know, credibility, or, you know, that have a good chance of lasting a while, right? Like, you don't want to be all in on shit coins or alts, because, you know, shit like this happens, right? Like, I'm looking at the Bitcoin price action. It hasn't even broken down, like, from its range. It's just ranging. It's not doing anything. And then, but now you got Ethereum, just absolutely getting crushed, right? And this is this is reiterating that, you know, that there are buyers in Bitcoin, right? And that's because of its credibility, that it has the ETF, right? It has credibility now. Nobody's gonna dump out of fear or thinking it's gonna go to zero, right? It's just not gonna happen now, right? I mean, of course, there's always that 0.0000001% chance that it will, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense, right? So people will pile into there and not panic as much as they would in the altcoins. Yes, altcoins could give you bigger returns, but, you know, you're playing a risky game there. If the majority of your portfolio is in altcoins, you know, you're feeling the pain right now. And whereas someone that's in Bitcoin is like, what, we're down like 10%. I don't know. Like, I can't even, what was it, over the past day, probably like 5%, if that. So, that's the perspective, right? And if you're in an altcoin, you could be down 20, 40%. And if the majority of your portfolio is in altcoins, you're just feeling a lot of pain. You're just probably right about to capitulate. Well, my wife's like, where are you? I left because of the crypto dump. Walking around to find a coffee shop. It's just, it's time in the space. You know, don't think it's just you, right? We all get lured into, like, you know what, Bitcoin is just too high of a price. I got in 2017, so my perspective back then was like, oh man, it's already like, what was it then, 3 to 4K or something to 5K, and I was like, dude, it's way too high already, so I'll just get into altcoins, right? Like, that was the mentality. Now it's, you know, over 60K, and that's still the same mentality today, right? New people come in, they're like, oh, it's too high. I'll try to make it back, or make back what I missed in the alts, right? In the altcoins. And you know, I think it's one of those things that it's kind of like, it's just human nature to, you know, you could hear it all day. You could hear people tell you, you know, don't get in altcoins, stay in Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? You hear that all the time, but it doesn't register. Especially if you're new to the space, you're like, oh, okay, man, it crashed. Okay, be careful. Everything's crashing. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah. But yeah, like, as I was saying, you know, we're all, as humans, we hear these things over and over, and it's just like, well, you know, yeah, they're telling me to get into Bitcoin or Ethereum, but I missed out on a lot of the move. I didn't catch the bottom. It's near the top. I am going to make it back wife's calling on a live stream. Okay. All right. But yeah, you just want to make it back, right? Like you're like, oh, well, I can't be the one buying the top, but it feels like it's near the top. You know what? Let me just leverage the shit out of myself. Let me buy these alts. Let me try to make back that 30 or what is it? 150% I missed. What was it? 200? Oh man, it's from like 15K, 100, 200, 300% plus I missed in Bitcoin. I missed the move. You know, that's the whole mentality, right? So, you know, everyone tries to get into the altcoins and tries to make it back, right? And then you get this move. You know, Bitcoin's not doing anything really. It's just ranging. It just ranged, and then Friday just like the bottom just fell out on all these altcoins. Like, I know you know, I'm not really a guy that stays tuned into news, but you know, I hear some shit's going on, right? I don't know too many details, but yeah, it's spooking people, and you know, that's what's probably with the cause. Everyone's just kind of getting out of risk assets, right? And just kind of like, you know, protecting their capital, right? Trying to time the market, right? So, and that's the thing, man. Over time, you know, you're gonna give up something trying to time the market. Either A, right? You give up your time to do it. You're gonna give up a lot of time sitting there trying to time the market. You could give up your health, right? Your mental sanity trying to, especially crypto, man. Like you're trying to time crypto, you're gonna, you know, the higher the frequency of trying to time the market, the more of a chance that you miss a move, right? Especially if you're trying to time tops and bottoms, right? And you know, as you do that over time, you know, there's gonna come one time where, you know, your strategy says that you should get out of a position, right? And everything lines up, right, with your MACD and moving averages and price action, whatever, all that shit line up and say perfectly you can get out here. And you're like, you know what, I'm gonna follow the strategy. Boom, you get out. And then it keeps going, never comes back, right? And you never get an entry back, right? So, and then you know, you end up buying higher, right? Which is, you know, that's fine too, right? Like it all depends on who you are as a investor, right? Like if you're looking for short-term gains, then, you know, that doesn't apply to you, right? But if you're like one that's trying to build a position, you know, allocate these assets, you're not trying to time the market and everything, like these events that you know, like the past couple days where we're just dumping and you get scared out of your position, if nothing fundamentally changed in that investment, you know, shit happens, man. You know, like that's part of the game. You know, what you're getting back though is you're getting back time, you're getting back, you know, maybe not after the past couple days, your mental sanity, right? But for the most part, you have your mental capital. You know, I like to call it mental capital that you're not spending on trying to time and trying to pick the right bottom and top, right? You know, it's, you know, I don't know. As I got older, you know, when I first started trading, like it's just kind of like I tried. You know, I was very short term trading, scalping, right, all that shit, right. And then as you get older, you know, I've been doing this since 2009, so it's almost over 15 years, right? Man, 15 years, and then just over time, you just start saying, man, it's just not worth it, right? Like, you get burnt out. You start spending a lot of time doing it to the point where it's like, is it even worth the return on my time to spend so much time doing it, right? You know, being very active. And these are the things you have to think about, right? So it's just kind of like it all has to come together. But yeah, that's just kind of like you have to really look in the mirror and decide for yourself, you know, what path you want to take. And it's okay to be like a day trader, a scalper, right? If you want, just know that there are trade-offs, right? Especially over the long term, right? But yeah, so Let's see. We got some poll. We got a poll here. Are you scared? No. All right. One guy is not scared, or one guy or girl. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Anyone chatting in the chat? You know, like if you got any questions, what are you doing? You got questions on concentrated liquidity? You know, how are you positioning yourself? You know, what's the price of Ethereum right now? About 3,030. You know, it's just kind of chilling right there. We dipped to like 2,800. I had a liquidity pool, as those that know that are in my Discord. I've been running an Ethereum USDC liquidity pool since early March, right? So from November up until March, I was just spot long Ethereum from like 1,500, and then I finally closed that position, paid back the loan to, you know, take myself off leverage, because I was kind of leveraged, not too much, you know, just enough to farm more liquidity pools with a loan to generate more alpha, right, during the uptrend. But you know, I closed that in early March, and then I started farming Ethereum USDC pools with a portion of my stack from 4,050 Ethereum price. So pretty much like at the top, right? I just started farming and doing a DCA strategy on the way down. Bro, you hobo. No offense. Oh man, yeah, man. That crash, man, it wiped me out. Dude, that's funny, man. I do look kind of bummy, huh? I do look kind of bummish. Dude, I just woke up, man. I woke up to the crash, and I was fucking broke. I was broke, man. That's it. Game over. But yeah, just getting back to what I'm doing, I started farming a DCA type strategy. So I set up a liquidity pool that was USDC heavy, and it just started dollar cost and averaging on the way down. Don't worry, bro. I lost some money in this shit too. Yeah, man. We all did, man. We all did. You know. And so I'm running this strategy as DCA. For sure, man. We're gonna work in McDonald's and make it back strong. There you go. There's like a Wendy's over there somewhere. Just right down. If you see that little red, there's a Wendy's over there. I'm about to go over there. Be like, can I wear the hat? You know, can I wear my clothes? I won't be here long if the crypto market recovers. But yeah. So I started at 4,050 Ethereum. USD, like all USDC heavy, so it would DCA on the way down as Ethereum came down. And now that we're here, right, I've been farming for over a month, just keeping my pools in range, right, using the Aperture Finance tool, which has been great. Takes a lot of manual load off my shoulders, and it just does the work for me, right? I just put in the parameters, and it's been great. I've generated a lot of yield. Especially, I haven't checked yet how much I generated over the past 12 hours. It's a lot. Like in the past like 3 hours, well, actually last I checked it was 2 hours in the liquidity pool, and it was generating a 1,800% APR on Ethereum. It's fucking nuts. That's why I always say, like, fear in the market is like the best time for liquidity providers. If you're missing these opportunities right now, you're missing out on the whole purpose of being a liquidity provider, right? Yeah, you're gonna take on some risk. Yeah, it's gonna suck for a bit. But if you do it on assets that you want to own, like for me, I don't mind owning Ethereum, and generating 1,800%. You're not gonna do that when the market's all rosy and everything is fine, right? You're gonna do it during these times when it's just crazy, and that's the whole point. Because if you're trying to time the market with your liquidity, as a liquidity provider, you might as well just trade. Like, it's just much easier just to trade the market, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're holding assets and you're like, you know what, I want to generate some yield, I I want to be a little bit more active, but I still want to hold these assets, but I want to generate some yield, generate something while I'm waiting. Then this is a perfect way to do it, right? And so now that we're at 3,000 Ethereum, like, well, you know, if you guys see my position, I started at 150K at 4,000 ETH price, right? Now my position's worth like 110K, right? So I've lost, you know, about 40K, right? Getting poor by the day. But you know, the yield I've generated, like I'm working towards 20K, you know, over the past month. You know, in a month I made almost 20K, right? So what happens over the course of a year, right? Doing this and constantly just being in the market and staying and providing liquidity, or what would happen if I try to time it, right? What if I timed it perfectly and said, you know what, I'm not going to provide liquidity at 4,000. I'll start today at, what is it, 3,000, right? Well, yes, I could start today, but the risk is that I didn't generate any yield. The risk, there could be risk to the upside too, right? Like even in your direction, to where, say we get back to 4,000 Ethereum, right? What would be the yield generated then? Not as much, right? Like say today we go straight back over the next, you know, say the next month back to 4,000, and I generate like almost another 20K, right? I make 40K. Whereas the person that starts today, because they're trying to time it, gets back to 4,000 ETH, right? Generates 20K, right? They generate half as much yield. And then if you think about it, just over time, you compound that, right? You're compounding that yield. You're just in that market, constantly generating over time, right? That's the key, right? Time is just the main variable here. That's what's helping us as liquidity providers. Like, you just gotta have I know in crypto, right? Like people are very, you know, just very skittish. They want to be in and out. They don't want to be in for the long term, right? They're just trying to trade, make some big, you know, gains on some big shit coins, right? Whatever, right? But you also gotta have like a long-term bag, right? Like just long-term, and the way to do that, you know, in my opinion, is just to farm liquidity pools. Because say if I bought Ethereum at 4,000 and I'm sitting here hodling and I'm not, you know, farming concentrated liquidity, then, you know, I'm sitting here waiting until it gets back to 4K. Whereas I don't mind sitting back down here at 3K, or even if it goes to, like, say, God forbid, 2K, right? I hope it doesn't go down to 2K, but if it does, right, I'm gonna be right there, you know, just farming that liquidity, right? And then say it takes a couple years to get back to 4K. Well, my cost basis over time is getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And then say, like, if I'm earning like on average 100 or 200% APR on Ethereum, right, over the course of a year, I will cut my cost basis down by half, right? Or maybe 30%, right? Or 40%, right? You know, or 50%, right? Well, that's half, right? But you get the gist. Like, over time, you're lowering your cost basis, and then say we stay at 2K or 3K Ethereum for the next year, you know, I'm fine, because then by that time I should be break even. Whereas the person that's holding is still waiting, and they're still down and underwater in their position, right? And that's where the emotions come in, because then that person starts to think like, well, how long will this take to get back? You know, they end up capitulating, right? Most end up just capitulating. If the type of person that first got in gets in at 4K during this rally, they're not like very sophisticated anyways, right? They're more so just had the FOMO, right? They're just FOMOing in. They're like, you know what? Let me just get me in. I don't care. Just get me in. I'm tired of seeing my brother or my family or my friends, you know, making a shit ton of money, and I'm sitting here fucking, you know, holding fucking bonds or something, making 5% a year, right? Like, get me in, right? Like that's the type of mentality that goes through someone's head when they're getting in at 4K Ethereum, right? So they're most likely capitulating right now, right? And that's just the game, and that is the game. The market is not a. It's more of a, I call it a money extracting machine, right? It extracts money from people. That's what it does. It's a money extracting machine, right? And there's games that are played to get you out of your position. Because if everybody was all, kumbaya, holding hands, let's all make money together, the market would never move. Because everyone would be all in, and then we would just be sitting there looking at each other like, who's going to buy, right? There's got to be buyers and sellers, right? To create that this volatility is where the opportunity comes. So let's see. Hold on, Anton, you're making a lot of comments. Let's see what you got. Working McDonald's together. Yep. Hat stays on. I agree. ETH is going to be 10K. Larry Fink will make it happen. Yeah, I think eventually it'll hit 10K, man. I'm pretty sure, man. Chilling in spot. 2K. I'm buying 100x. 100, bro. Like, man, like leverage, man. Dude, like. I hope you're joking, right? Like 100x leverage, bro. Like, like I don't even like, I wouldn't even go past like 5, maybe 10 if you're like really disciplined. 10x, 5x, max, man. Because these moves, man. Look at this shit. Like, I think this would wipe out someone like even under 5x. It's crazy, man. Especially on the alts. Oh, for sure, on the alts, man. If you're like, even like 3x, you'd probably be wiped out right now. That's the thing, man. Like, there's no safety in leverage, man. It has to be at the right time. Like from November up until March, that was the time to be levered, and that's when I was leveraged. And I wasn't leveraged much even then. I think I was like 1.5x. So it's like nothing, right? Like this, I still don't mess with too much leverage. It's already volatile enough. Paper hands lose. Yeah, exactly. Like, people get in at the top and then they're like all gung-ho, but now this shit's happening. They're like, oh shit, let me just get out because it's going to zero or whatever, right? Like, it's just, and it all comes down to like, they don't have conviction in what they're investing in, right? You have to have conviction. You have to be like, you know what? I don't mind owning this. I want to own this. And if it gets, and even to, it doesn't have to be, but even to the point where like, if it gets cheaper, you're like, I want to get more of it, right? So that's the thing, man. Yeah, it's all in the mindset. It all comes down to the mindset. Like, just looking in that mirror every day and just figuring out, who you are, right? As a trader, you gotta stick to you gotta have a plan, right? And stick to it. A lot of people don't have a plan. They just get in, they FOMO the top, and then they're like, give me money, right? That's the mindset. And they're like, oh shit, I'm losing. They see their P&L going down, tumbling 20, 30, 40%, because they're always in altcoins. They always FOMO the altcoins. They don't want Bitcoin. They're just like, dude, that shit's too high now. It was too high in 2017 at 3K, then 10K, then 20K. Now it's high. Then it was high last cycle. Now this cycle, right? It's always too high. But people, they don't give Bitcoin much credit because that motherfucker could get volatile, man. And it has even been volatile right now. That's the crazy part. Like, say it breaks down from here, it can get ugly. Like, especially for altcoins. But yeah, it's just like you gotta have a plan. Try Pendle. I know CEO, great yield and points farming. Oh yeah, I've heard of Pendle. The thing is, I can't automate the management of the liquidity pool. Yeah, so it's very tough, man. Like, I got a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I'm working on some things, and it's just like it's taking some of my time, right? So it's just like, I would love to get into some of these, and I've seen them. I've seen the yields on these. It's crazy, all the incentives and everything, and But yeah, just for me, like, I'm primarily just on Uniswap, using the aperture to keep my pulls in range, and that's about it, man. Someone shit their pants on the pole, man. Damn. Yeah, man. I almost did myself. So let me pin that to the top, right? Oh wait. Yeah. So, just woke up, out here in Japan, trying to enjoy a little vacay, and then all of a sudden this shit's fucking happening. Now I got to do some work. What's your current plan on Ethereum USDC LPs? Yeah, if you could join my Discord for free, and then it's in the description. You could just join. You click it and join, and then I have threads on Ethereum on my positions, and I show what I'm doing, and I give updates on how much it's earning and what I'm doing and how I'm structuring the pools, to take advantage at the time, like right now. But just to give you a heads up, or just to kind of summarize what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is, I first started DCAing, but as of yesterday, I changed it. I changed my liquidity pools to be very tight. It's about, what's the percentage? I think it's like 10. It's about 10% to the upside, and then probably like 7% to the downside. But it's maintaining a 70% ratio of Ethereum to USDC. So 70% of the pool is Ethereum, 30% is USDC, and then when it gets to 55%, which means the price is going up, when it gets to a 55% ratio, it rebalances back to 70%, and then on the way down, if it gets above, I believe 90%. If it gets above 90%, it rebalances to 70%. So there is impermanent loss being taken there, but I'm generating a lot of fees with a very tight liquidity pool, and I'm betting that this volatility will last for at least a week or two, right? Like that's what I'm betting on. And then if I see price get back above 3,500, 3,600, I will most likely go very wide, just to assess and see what's going on, right? And see if the market is recovering or not, and then just take action from there, see what happens. But in the meantime, as long as we're down here, I'm keeping it super tight and generating yields. Like I said, like over the past, I haven't even checked the previous rebalances over the past like 12 hours, but it's rebalanced at least a couple times, maybe 3 times, and the one that's currently active is producing 1,800%, 1,800% APR on Ethereum. It's fucking nuts, man. Like I was making more. The amount of yield I made was about $515 over the past 2 hours on a 110K position. So yeah, so that's the thing. Like this is the time to be in it. You have to be in it, getting those yields, and then I just take that yield and I set it aside in another wallet and let it chill. Yep, I'm with the Discord. What's your ratio to determine the percent of ETH within the LP? I saw you were on minimum 85. Yes, I was minimum 85% a few days ago, and I was wider. I was much wider on the upside, and I was playing a in case the market recovered thesis, right? Which is not the case now, right? So I had to change it, and as long as we stay down here in price, I'm going to keep it tight, right? Until we get back above key levels in price, and then I could get back wider again, and then recapture, so I don't take on too much of permanent loss, right? I don't want to be back at 4,000 ETH and end up, losing too much to the point where like the yield didn't even matter, right? So like that's what you don't want, right? You want to be able to pivot quickly in case, because that's the risk for me to the upside, being very tight. I don't want to be caught with my pants down and not have just not I had done all this. I would have done all this for nothing, right? I might as well have just stayed either in cash, right, and I should have been stabled up, or or just didn't even like try at all, right, to farm it, right? It would have been all for nothing, right? So, and that's the risk. That's the big risk, right? Because I wasted a lot of time doing this, and if I don't adjust back on the way up, get more, keep the ratio. I'll probably keep it like 85-90% on the way up, to capture, most of that value back, right? So, while generating yields, on the way up. So yeah, it's like I'm not a very active liquidity provider, but Aperture allows me to be active, more active than I would normally be, right? Because if it was me doing it manual, I would probably have it like pretty wide right now, and adjusting on a more larger basis, right? On price action, right? But now I could get very concentrated, right? And still maintain and minimize impermanent loss, which is great. So, but yeah, that's all I'm doing, man. And good to see you guys. Thank you guys for joining. I know it's not a lot of people, it's only a couple people, but yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna head off, and I gotta do some work. I gotta see what these positions are doing, and I'll just update everyone on the Discord. All right, guys. Peace out. Thanks for joining. I'll see y'all later.